Is there anything that anybody wants to say?
That's so much pressure.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to Realms Apart. This is a show that we've put a lot of heart into.
That's true. We put a lot of people's hearts into this, and we are really
I'm glad we're breaking down the barriers for the satanic panic and really kind of breaking D&D out of those old stereotypes that evil devil worshippers.
I feel like we should go back to D&D roots, which is the satanic.
We should embrace it. We should at least say it's like, we started recording our D&D session in the middle, but we didn't want our audience to be thrown into a story with no exposition, so...
We could just play that before.
And you could just record a thing. It doesn't need to be all of us. Just like hello, we started recording this.
No.
I don't really think that this is a reboot necessarily. We're starting from the beginning here, so let's just embrace that and make it new and have a good time.
I might just keep this, what we just said, honestly.
I wanted to say that this is exciting that we all get to have an opportunity that all of us are here and kind of like Az and I get to experience episode 1.
Do we feel humanized?
Is it meditation time?
I'd like to do meditation time if everybody's open to it.
Let's rock and roll.
I mean, I'm ready. I sprayed my meditation spray.
I ordered 1 everything bagel and a lot of avocado spread. And the lady called me and she said, "Did you mean to order 3 everything bagels?" And I said, "Yes."
Yeah.
I have finished 2 large Starbucks coffees and I am vibrating right now.
Momo turned into Vanya.
From the
Umbrella Academy. Vanya from the Umbrella Academy.
Oh, I've never seen. I thought you said a lasagna.
And before I do anything else, good.
There's a robot.
Be careful with that because there's parts where it clips out. I don't know if it's because your voice is too high or the mic's cutting you.
Let's leave the banter to our introduction and go straight into our meditative moment so that we can just ease into the role play. You should hear the roll 20 music. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start our recording, and we're going to do a minute, maybe 2, of meditative thought. And I'm going to start us off in 5, 4, 3, 2. There is a spark in the glowing embers of the hearth. And that stone hearth is sat within the well-worn wood and stone of an old tavern, soaked with ages upon ages of ale and revelry. This tavern has seen so very much. Currently, in front of that fire, as the embers pop and crackle, casting an orange hue against the dark, aged wood, sat in a lush chair, threadbare and worn, is an old man with a long gray beard, but bright, quick eyes. He draws deeply upon a pipe. It's tightly packed with elderweir roots and rich-smelling tobacco. It's burnt low, and the orange embers match that from the hearth. Around his face dances plumes and tiny gouts of blue-gray smoke. And they ride across the old man's face before catching the wayward breeze and drifting towards the fire, and then up the old stone chimney into the great beyond. The children that were scattered about the floor of the common room looked attentively at the old man, waiting for a tale of faraway lands and heroic exploits. Now then, where was I? The bard always started his tales in the exact same manner, as if he was wandering across 1,000 pathways and had finally landed upon the right one. Were we traveling the Moonshay Isles, carrying cargo and dark secrets, perhaps? Was it the deck of the Siren's Call, perhaps? The death of the lovers, or maybe the betrayal of the brother? I wonder, were we still trapped in those dark corners of the Underdark, fighting for sanity and faith? Or were we trapped within the visions that led the young priestess back into the world? Or the halls of Candlekeep, the grandest of libraries, and the place of his greatest revelation? Or was it the mountains, covered in shadow, that place that we dare not speak words of, where the world is mirrored in shadow?
Waterdeep.
The bright-eyed girl met the gaze of the old bard.
You were at Waterdeep.
I suppose we were at the beginning then. Close your eyes and imagine a city that stretches so far and wide that the horizon can barely hold it. Waterdeep. You no doubt have heard tales of the Crown of the North, but the tales that you may have heard from lesser bards do it very little justice. The City of Splendors, seated on the Sword Coast, in the very heart of Faerun, a shining gem in the endless expanse of Abir Terrell, a grand, magnificent city that holds within its mighty walls more political intrigue, adventure, and mystery than Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter combined. Waterdeep is a city that you could live in for 100 years and still be surprised by when you turn a corner or open a newly discovered door. It always holds some secret. But despite the 100,000 tales of heroism and villainy that have been birthed within the gates of Waterdeep, perhaps most importantly, it is the place where the winds of the world shifted and gathered them together, where the fates forged them like steel, and the workings of the weave ignited a series of events that would forever change our world. And before all of that, before the dragon and the death that would break them apart, before the ravens made their choice and the crown found its home, before the secrets of the ship were laid bare and the traitor revealed, before the spark was renewed and the truth discovered, it all started like most stories do. On a road, with a world fresh and new, filled with the morning light and a glimmer of hope in the far distance. There's, in the beginning, the gentle light of morning, And it enters in through the balcony. The palace is immaculate, crystal and intricately wrought. 1,000 years upon 1,000 years couldn't express the grace and artistry that the elven people have put into this castle. It lies deep within the mountains of Evermeet, and it has always held a special place here. It has existed since the first Sundering, a time forgotten by almost all of the younger races. But the elves never forget. At the crux of the Dawn War, when all seemed lost, and the elven people were shattered and then scattered, they began to descend away from the world. And Dabir Terrell changed. But here within the palace, in the city of Teowin, time stands still. It stands a testament to the glory of the world that once was. This is the world that you have always known. Perfection. Your studies and education have taught you there is a world beyond those great seas, and that you and your people have been magically shielded. The beauty of the land is tethered to your spirit. It is as your hand is to your arm. It cannot be separated. The light of the morning is upon your face. You are young, very young for your people. You have just begun the time of your life where your connection to all things has begun to expand. You are experiencing the visions that overcome your people upon the meditation that you take each day. And you are sat upon a pillow, and that light is striking across your face, and your eyes open, and you remember stars. Stars in the sky that no longer exist. Stars from an age long forgotten. And it comforted you. And for the first time in your life, you find a desire, a wish to see the world beyond Evermeet, outside of the boundaries of this perfect, endless island of beauty and peace. Describe to me what Dodelia looks like.
So she stands up from her pillow, her bare feet touching the marble floor, and she evens out her long, elegant gown. She actually walks to the end of the balcony, and there's some branches branching over top, and she grabs some of the white flowers, and she starts weaving them into her hair. She has long ears, little white freckles, long dark hair, and very pale skin, almost like she hasn't been outside in a very long time.
And upon your heart is the fear that you have always felt. Dodelia, du Vespir, tel Quisar, from the House of Sky and Light. You know that one day you will rule as your mother has, as the Royal Council has, and that everything around you, this land, these people, this perfection, it will be your responsibility to shepherd and guard it. The weight is heavy upon you. You have studied and worked. You hold your hand before you. And Dodelia, tell me what you do.
She takes a deep breath. Okay, come on. Just a little flame, just enough to light a candle. It doesn't have to be anything grand or exciting. This is the time. And she just focuses very hard and tries to have just a small flame appear in her hand.
Nothing happens. The weave of magic is so far from your grasp. You had every advantage, and still you fail.
Next time is the time. We just haven't had breakfast yet. You can't start the day without breakfast.
You stand, and within your chambers, there is a beautiful full-length mirror.
She looks to make sure that she's presentable.
And as you look upon that mirror, prepared to start your day, the mirror shatters. There's a crack that runs through it, and as it does, your form changes. And there's a twist of magic that takes that pale-faced, young, smiling, elven princess and reveals to you a small, green-skinned goblin. Describe Doddle.
Doddle is a little small goblin girl with floppy ears, kind of like a beagle, that she looks in the mirror and examines, moving them around to make sure that they're real. And the flowers have remained in her hair, though they're falling out a little bit. And clothes far too large for her that I suppose she runs to grab ribbons that she uses to tie them to herself so they don't just fall off in a panic.
And as you turn, you ram into a bag of barley that spills over. And there is the rock of a wagon and the creak of the wheels beneath you and the bump of the road. As Doddle, you do sleep. And you do dream. And it takes some getting used to. A pair of oxen snort somewhere ahead of you as they lumber forward. You hear the clopping of their heavy hooves. You hear the absent-minded whistle of the old farmer. He doesn't know you're back here. In the sky above, clouds gather. There is the crack of thunder somewhere in the distance, and you recognize that storm from your dreaming. Time has a way of slipping through your fingers, Dottle. You're not sure how long it's been since you found yourself in this state, since you ran away, stowed away upon the merchant vessels and ended up on the shores of this new land, wandering, lost, and you would have starved. You'd be dead. But at the point where the berries that you found were no longer sustaining you, you made a friend. That friend saved you and helped you find food that you could eat. And when you had expressed your wish to find a way home, he would take you to the road that would lead you back to civilization, and there to a great city, a city that is sat upon the sea, where you could find people with ships, and they could take you back to where you came from. He took you as far as a farmhouse. And there, he found this old farmer. He has perhaps 4 teeth in his entire head and is more wrinkled than any creature you have ever seen. And as scared as you have been, and as long as this journey has been, something about it gives you some sense of hope. The cart is full of burlap sacks, full of corn and wheat, apple and plums, and in your lap, sleeping, is the large brown chicken that you've named Harold. The chicken was meant to be a meal when you were near starving, a gift from your strange friend. But you couldn't bring yourself to kill the chicken, so now you have a pet and a companion. And your forest friend had told you that he would watch over you as well as he could, but the city was poison and that he wouldn't be welcome there. You'd be on your own again. Other than the chicken, which you refused to eat. Next to the old man, the old farmer, is a dog, ragged just like his owner. Constantly, he sticks his snout through the seat in the front, trying to find you, sniffing at you. You know the dog knows you're there. The farmer, you think, might be half deaf and not aware that you're hitching a ride on his cart.
Can I say sometimes I pet the dog when the driver's not looking?
Your little hand comes out and you pet the dog and you feel the wet tongue lap across your fingers. The dog whines happily, and you hear its tail thumping across the wooden cart in joy. Dottle, you're petting this raggedy dog, and this road has been mostly dirt, but it has turned into stone, and the ride has become bumpier. And you hear other carts and other horses around you. And before you, spread out, all along that horizon, you see a city larger, more grand than you could have imagined. Evermeet is full of beauty, and the city that you see is jagged and harsh, made of rough stone and strange peaks, and it seems to be stacked upon itself, endlessly like a forest. Guards that are dressed in armor carrying halberds with shields, marching in step around an enormous wall. Humans, their knights, wear armor of a certain type, and you've seen drawings, heard the legends. They look like the stories that you have read about. And there, above the city, are sentinels made of stone. Giants that are frozen in time. And on the road, in your cart, you rock back and forth, and it grows larger and larger as you approach the gates to the southern ward of Waterdeep. Somewhere else, a cold wind blows across your face, and the dripping of water in the caverns surrounds you. There is an emptiness here. You hold your gauntleted hand in front of you, and there is blood. Your other hand, your gauntlet lost, grasps onto the cold, wet caverns of the Underdark. Your tunic and your tabard are soaked to the skin, and you are chilled and wet. And your hair is in your face, and you are covered in filth and grime as you have crawled your way back out of the pits of the earth. And you realize that some of the blood on you is yours, but much of it is not. Hawk, you are haunted by the death that has surrounded you. Hawk, you have to run. Don't turn back. Don't come back. Kara's voice echoes across the walls. And as you turn a corner, you see your sister, Amara. Her eyes level upon you. Her robes are clean, not soiled by the filth around you.
Where are you going? How will you forget all that I have given you?
With a start, you wake. You are in a bed. You are clean, and your wounds have been dressed. Your eyes alight upon the chamber around you, Hawk. It is a stone room, small and simple, very bare, with a wooden nightstand, a single candle burning low. There is a needle and thread, some healing tools and herbs, and a small handheld looking glass. On a chair, wooden chair in the corner, your weapons and armor have been cleaned. And there, leaning against it, the dark blade with the raven hilt in the sheath is leaning. The sword was the only reason that you survived. You've given yourself to the Queen, and she has made good of her promise. It seems that you have survived. Past the end table, lying on the ground, next to your cloak, which is shredded but clean, there lies a tarnished, cracked symbol of Lathander. You don't know how long you were in the Underdark. You remember they're dead, but you don't remember everything. Kara, Amara? All gone. What do you do?
Well, I think the first thing I probably want to do is try and get up. Are my wounds still sore, or?
There are scars and a little soreness when you move. You are completely healed. Whoever has cared for you has done good work.
With a heavy sigh, try and get out of the bed. I'm going to make my way towards the door.
The door in front of you is sturdy and made of thick wood. As you stand, you glance down at the hand mirror on the nightstand. Describe yourself, Hawk.
His hair's bone white, blue eyes. On his torso, he has a series of scars as if he's been opened up, then sewn back shut. He's very thin, about 6 feet tall.
The door opens, and a stout figure is standing in the doorway.
I thought I heard something.
Before you is a dwarf with light blue skin and a braided white beard. He has a completely bald head with tattoos that dance across it. 3 ravens and a blocky dwarven glyph.
You're awake. That's good. Thought you might not wake at all.
I'm lucky, I guess.
Ain't no luck to it, boy, don't you forget. No luck at all where she's concerned.
And he looks to the sword, the corner of the room.
I hold out my hand towards the sword.
From the other side of the room, it flies into your hand. And it feels cool to the touch. The candle burns lower, and the shadows dance around the room.
Good to see. Glad I'm not wasting my time. I serve the Queen, and her will be clear. You weren't to die down there. She's got plans for you. We dragged you up quite far. Don't know how you got so deep. We delved deeper than any. Durgar see much. But in the dark we see things that others don't. Ain't never seen no humans go down that far and not end up dead.
Good intentions can take you to the wrong path, I guess.
You know all about that, don't you, boy?
I guess I do.
You're a miracle, boy. A sign. A sign the world's coming back around. And the great wheels be moving. The dark is rising. Time might be right for changes. She told me where to take you. Secrets are everywhere. Come along, gather your things. We got quite the ride into Waterdeep.
Waterdeep?
Skullport's at least a day away, so let's get a move on.
What's in Waterdeep? I'm from Baldur's Gate.
Only answers I've got for you, boy, are what's to eat for dinner and how much water have we got for the trip. The mine carts are ready to go. Come along.
Let me just put on my things, I guess. I apologize for the burden I put on you.
No. You're one of us now. We don't apologize. The word's too harsh for that. We just do what we must. You survive, that's thanks enough.
The Durgar turns.
Perhaps when you pray to her next, you tell her, Drummond Glout did you right.
Thank you, Drummond.
Get your things on, boy.
And the stout dwarf turns and walks out. As the door closes, the candle blows out. And somewhere in the darkness in the distance, with the sword in your hand, Hawk, you hear as it echoes far away from you. When you gather your things and make your way out, you find a mining cart. It is pulled along by an enormous goat-like creature with strange purple fur. Drummond's small shanty is on the outskirts of a place that you know as Skullport. And you travel through that bizarre underground realm and start a journey through mining shafts up to Waterdeep. With the caverns endlessly passing beyond you, you have no way to tell time. You've long ago given that up. After some time, the cart pulls to a stop.
Walk for 30 minutes up that shaft there. Tell them I sent you, that you mean no harm. The city awaits. I've done my duty. Queen be praised.
Yeah. Thank you, Drummond. I appreciate the help.
You're a miracle, boy.
Cracks the strange goat-like creature, and it turns and starts its way back as you stand alone in a cold, dank mining shaft. What do you do?
I shake my head and quietly to myself say, there's no such thing as miracles. I just kind of heft my bag onto my shoulders.
You begin smelling things and hearing things that you never thought you would experience again. Somewhere in the far distance, there's the smell of freshly baked bread. And you hear the bustle of a city. Footsteps and horses and carriages and laughter, music. And as you pass through enormous doors, a small, dark-skinned gnome motions you forward, and you step onto cobblestone streets as the morning light touches your face. And Hawk, you begin to cry. The light is still here. And the cacophony of the world around you deafens you for a moment, but it is so comforting as you remember this isn't Baldur's Gate, but it will do for now. Across a crooked table in a filthy tavern, a lantern burns brightly. It does nothing for the smell of this place. It reeks of old sweat and sour ale. There are far too many people crowded into it, but this table is yours, and for the most part, you've been left alone. It is sat in front of the bar by the door, so if anyone enters, you'll be ready to move. There are those who have expressed distaste with your research, and you know that some of your materials have been gathered in less than reputable ways. There's a mirror to your left, and you've been using it to oversee the entire common room of this disgusting tavern. Maglow, describe yourself to us.
As he looks into the mirror, the first thing that he catches is his own bloodshot eyes, one blue and one green eye, and the bags that hold them. His shirt is like neatly pressed but covered in oil and ink. He takes off his glasses and rubs his eyes, rubbing more ink and oil across his face that's already there.
You're clearly deep within your work. The map that you have before you shows a wide sea, and there are markings all across it. Scrolls and books, sextants, gears, and other tools are lying about, and there is a glint of brass in the light of the lantern. Working its way across these papers, a small brass orb with spider legs and transparent wings like a bumblebee hops about. It has a yellow glowing gem in the center of its body, and it clacks and clitters across the paper and the parchment. The small construct that you have built, the small construct that you and your sister built,
oh, God. Buzz, here's my problem. These elves have the same calendar that we do, right? But these fuckers, they have 600 days in a single one of their elven days, and that makes it really fucking hard to track when things are going on. But we have figured out that something's going on, right?
The book that's in front of you has all of your notes scribbled into it. Pages are shoved within it. It has doubled inside, and the spine has shattered because of it. You continue your research, digging deeper and deeper, searching for the answer that you know is staring you right in the face. You've been through it 1,000 times, and there's no question about it. You have everything you need to find it. You believe you know the way. You just have to put it together. You know, and you know that she would have wanted you to be there. You'd always talked about this when you were children. You can find Evermeet. The magics of that land. They can do anything. They can be directed with great and wondrous effect. And you know it all ties together. The first sundering and the second. Maglow, you've been in your books for far too long. A strange, filthy-looking, drunken man has toppled across your table, rolling over it, just reeking of whiskey and pipe smoke.
Hey, fuck off! What are you doing? I'm clearly busy. Orman, are you fucking kidding me now? What did I tell you about getting people next to my table?
The barkeep is just a very, very large woman with a very tight gray bun, and she looks at you and just gives you a shrug.
I'm not going to listen to you. Look at you with glasses.
I'm gonna fucking listen. And he puts his hand in his bag, and he pulls out a small pistol, and he just starts to load it with shit. And he's like, "You're gonna fucking listen. I swear to fucking God, this is the third time I've been fucking interrupted."
Make an intimidation check, please, Maglow.
That's not going to go well for me.
I can't.
Or isn't it? 12. It's not great, but it's better than I thought it was going to be.
Look, we don't have to turn into violence. It's not really like I meant anything. I'll just go over here, all right?
Yeah,
You
fucking go to the other end of the room.
All right, librarian.
And the man
Wanker.
stumbles across the tavern and disappears into the crowd. I need you to make an insight check, please. And I'm making a perception check for you.
21.
You've always had a keen eye. You've always been very quick about picking out the details around you, Maglow. As the drunken man wandered off, it took a moment, but his boots were new. Highly polished. Dark black. And your mind begins to tumble backwards into everything that's just occurred. He rolled across your table. He looked you in the face. Now his nose seems strange to you in your memory. A little too lumpy to just be broken. Was that wax? And then you realize one of your books is gone.
Right, Busby, on my arm. He offers out his left arm, which is an ocean of chemical and fire burns.
Yeah, the small brass automaton crawls across the table, leaps onto your arm, and then up onto your shoulder, shining a yellow light across the crowd around you.
Busby, can you see him? And he grabs as much shit as he can, throwing it into his messenger bag. That's his like old medic's messenger bag that's on the table. Grabs his rifle, and then charges toward the area that he saw the person go whilst yelling at the barkeep. Barkeep, that table's still mine. To make sure nobody sits on it.
Yeah.
You charge through the space, scanning across everyone within the tavern. You don't see the drunken man, but you do find the tunic he was wearing and a wad of clay that looks very much like his nose.
Okay, hey, listen, this is fine. We got out of worse situations. Okay, Busby, I'm going to need you to go slightly higher and see if you can get a perspective advantage.
Busby flies above you, and I did roll a natural 20 on your next perception with Busby assisting. So let's see if you can get a second natural 20, which would trigger something miraculous happening as per our house rules.
Here we go, gang.
Oh yeah, Nox, since this is the first time doing this, sorta, would you like to take a second to explain?
Yeah, so we have a house rule where every time we roll a natural 20, we roll it again, and if we get a second natural 20, something miraculous happens. It's a very good thing. So it's the same for a natural 1, only, really bad. At that point, we roll it a third time, and if you get 3, my promise to the players always is that I will alter the campaign for the better or the worse, depending on how you roll. So if you get 3 natural 1s, something very bad will happen. It may not happen right away, but something in the world is going to shift within the campaign because of that roll. And if you get 3 natural 20s, something very good will happen.
Hey, just for those of you who are watching the video and you're a little confused and you want like a visual explanation of this, here's the other nat 20.
No way!
Shit.
No.
19!
19 is so close.
So close.
sorry, my friend. That's not going to cut it. The other house rule, just so everyone who's listening understands, I roll all of the perception checks. The reason that I do this as a dungeon master is to preserve the surprise and the description of the world around you. If you miss a secret door, you don't necessarily know that you missed it. All right. So that's a 19. Maglow, you did, however, get a natural 20, and you see the back door by the kitchen entrance slam shut as someone passes through it very quickly.
He goes for it.
Okay, so you run for the door. You burst out into a filthy alley that's covered in old crates and sour-looking piles of garbage, and there's a midden heap down the far side of it, and it reeks of human remains. This is the southern ward of Waterdeep, and it is not where the rich and noble spend their vacation time. There's a figure running down the alley. They are dressed in black leather, and you don't see their face. It's covered in a black mask. Your book in their hands. They turn a corner. What do you do?
Maglow starts running. He has like a pump rifle. He like pulls back the handle, puts his hand into his bag as he's running, and he pulls out a thick green liquid that he pours into this small vial. He gets some small leaves that he puts in there. There's a small circular looking stone that he puts in his mouth and cracks with his teeth and then spits it in. He loads it into his rifle, and as he turns the corner, he's gonna ready his shot.
You're doing all of this while you're running, so I want you to make an acrobatics check, please, Maglow.
Ooh, not great at those. But a 12.
It's awkward. You're wasting more components than you would like, and some of it spills on the ground around you as you hurry through your task, but you do succeed. And you ready your weapon, and as you turn the corner, you see the figure standing right in front of you. Roll for initiative.
Aces. 5.
You can't tell who this is, but they have your book, and their fist impacts upon your face. You take 4 points of damage as you feel your jaw whip backwards and a taste of blood in your mouth. The figure turns and runs away. We'll come back to you. Somewhere else, somewhere in the southern ward, Soray, you are standing on a rooftop, and you're watching as, in the distance, the light of the morning begins to rise, and you're looking out over all of the buildings of the southern ward, past the wall, onto the high road that leads off deep into the horizon. You see the tree lines beyond, and for a moment, in your heart, you see the tree of souls, twisted, opening up into similar light. The white leaves rustling in the breeze. The sturdy gray intertwined trunk that reaches up, dwarfing any who stand near it. And in a heartbeat, you see it burning. As it crumbles into ash and floats in the air. It's an old memory. You're not even sure if it's real anymore. There is a shout.
Give it back, witch!
And you realize that you had not escaped. You thought you were clear. Othar Thundermast, the large, muscled man, clambers across the roof, 3 buildings down. He holds in his hand a chain and a hook. And then you feel your hand and the weight of the coin purse, the money that you were owed. they disagree. Roll initiative.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Soray.
That's it. That's canon. No, that's that kind of voice now. Can't change
No!
it.
Oh, God, no. Okay, initiative. That work? Fuck.
The figure that is up on the rooftop begins clambering upward and stands. In his hand is a chain and a hook. And he's wearing the leathers and breeches of a rogue. They are well worn and they have pockets upon them. Behind him, appearing now, is another figure, a rake-thin, red-skinned tiefling, which is a devilish-looking creature with horns and a spiked tail that whips behind them wildly, holding 2 daggers. This is Billix Newfar. And behind the 2 of them is a female half-dwarf with a beard and extremely bright blue leather armor, like a lightning bolt. It's hard to miss. And she is Ular Featherfingers and leaps onto the roof very easily, looking to you with a squint. The 3 of them begin charging towards you, and they spend their entire action making their way across the rooftop. I'm going to quickly make a couple of acrobatics checks.
Soray's gonna roll her eyes and stand up and obviously turn to face them.
So they are making good speed. Ufar is actually much slower than the other 2. So Billix and Ula are now way ahead of them. You are still on the roof, and it is your turn. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna charge at them.
You're going to charge at
with my spear at the ready.
Okay, so you run forward with a spear, and they immediately pause. They didn't expect you to redirect this at them, and all of them sort of reassess themselves, but after a moment, as you run forward, Ofar smiles. That's more like it, let's go! You make your way across in your movement phase. Would you like to attack? You can attack either Billix or Ula. Ula is the female half-dwarf with a beard. And
oh, yeah, we're going after Ula then. Okay, cool.
She has a short sword.
Cool. I'm going to run at her, and as I'm running, like I'm like unfazed, like nothing's gonna stop me, like a train. I'm gonna try and stab her with my spear.
Okay, go ahead and roll the strike.
Right in the chest.
Okay, roll the strike as you try to stab forward.
Very aggressive. Ooh.
That's a natural 1.
That's a 1. Fuck me.
So it's either you usually, or it is our friend Matthew who fall into these loops. So you didn't roll another natural 1,
yeah,
but you do entirely miss as the half-dwarf rolls across the slate rooftop and lands back onto her feet. She stands back up and has her short sword at the ready.
So I'm going to spend a key point, and I'm going to use Flurry of Blows. I throw my spear at her, and I miss, right? And she, like, nimbly dodges for a half dwarf. That's pretty impressive. I'm going to miss, and my spear is gonna stick into the roof. I miss, but I'm gonna use my the force in which I was running, like a Olympic gymnast. I'm going to swing on my spear that's stuck into the ground, and I'm going to swing out and kick the dwarf.
I love the way that you've described that. I'm going to give you an inspiration, so you can use an inspiration if you want,
cool.
Or you can bank it for later.
Bank it, unless I fail, and then I'm going to use it.
All right, so go ahead and roll that strike for the flurry of blows. 16 hits. So you strike the half-dwarf, and she stumbles back and topples off the side of the roof.
Perfect.
You are now only facing 2 opponents as she has fallen somewhere below.
So after I make my kick, I'm going to land and pull out the spear and ready myself for the next two to come at me.
All right. So immediately the large individual with the chain lashes out and whips at you with this chain on a hook.
Rad.
And your AC is it 18?
15. I think I can use a key point to dodge.
All right. So I'm going to move to the second attack. He misses.
Can the first one, I nimbly dodge, right?
Yeah.
And then the second one, as it comes around, can I use my spear to hook it and pin the chain down to the roof?
Big ask.
My spear.
It's a big ask.
Oh, okay.
But I will give you a chance. Let's have you roll your acrobatics.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say that you're going to do that at a disadvantage.
Okay.
So if you want to, you can use your inspiration.
Hell yeah.
All right. And let's see if you can beat the difficulty challenge rate that I've got. That's a 16 off the first one, a 14 off the second. Are you using your inspiration?
Yes.
Good. Let's see what it is.
What do I roll? 8? D8?
Yeah. So roll a D8 and add it to your score. 6.
6,
So
cool.
your disadvantage was a 14, which is with a 6 from your inspiration, makes it a 20. The chain wraps around your spear and you shove it down into the slate roof in front of you. And as you do so, it whips out of his hand. And Ophar looks to you. What? It is now Billix's turn. And the rake-thin tiefling laughs at the barbarian, points at him, and then looks back to you and shrugs with a sort of look as it's only business. And the tiefling throws a dagger at you. And clearly wasn't trying that hard. As the dagger flies very far over your right shoulder, and then shrugs again. Ophar jumps for his chain. What do you do?
I'm gonna run at him and try and strike him with my spear. Again, similar to how I attacked the half-dwarf, because I'm not gonna get that creative with these goons.
Go ahead and roll the strike, please. That's a 20. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
You absolutely hit, and you do a lot of damage.
10.
Yeah, so you break his jaw, and teeth fly into the air like a fountain from his mouth as blood gushes from his nose, and you see his eyes lock with yours as he topples down the slate roof as shingles shatter and break around him, and he rolls, and you see the large, muscled, tattooed barbarian fall off the edge. And it's only you and Billix.
I'm just gonna turn to Billix with this very, I'm ready to go. Are you? Face?
I'll tell you what. I'll give you a running start. I'll count to 30. 1, 2.
30, and then I'm gonna run at him and attack him.
Meanwhile, there's a sour taste in your mouth, Calder, and you're surrounded by empty bottles. Your head feels like it's been squeezed in a vice. In fact, everything hurts. Your hair is in your face and standing on end from where you were sleeping, and there's a small, quite dry pool of vomit that you have woken up in. And the room that you are currently residing in has more holes than boards. The window is covered in a ragged piece of cloth, and it looks as if someone has tried to tie it closed, and there's water dripping inside. You smell the salty air of the dock ward not too far away. There's a broken mirror in a corner, and you glance over at it. Describe Calder to us.
He's a sailor, pretty wiry. He's fairly young, like 19, 20. Blonde hair. It's kind of swept to the side, and it usually covers his scars. Is dressed in pretty plain clothes except for his long black coat.
Your coat is hung very neatly in the corner, and it turns out that in your drunken stupor, you took very good care of it. It's unmarred. As for your shirt and breeches, they have seen better days.
Well, I mean, he's gonna look himself up and down and go, oh, well, that's embarrassing for me. And he's probably gonna get himself a little cleaned up first.
You're very skilled at making do with what you have, and you gather a couple of empty flasks and fill them up with water and clean yourself up. You've been enjoying some of the local nightlife, and due to some unfortunate collisions with 3 dragon ante-tables and a few bottles of whiskey, you are broke and fully rock bottom. Maybe 3 coppers, that's about all, hidden in a boot. As your mind begins to clear, you realize that you did gather some information from one of the card players last night. That player won most of your coin, but if what the sailor says is true, it might be worth the loss. Taking some pity on you, he told you to meet up with one of his contacts. He gave you an address that was scrolled on an old piece of filthy parchment that was advertising a bard somewhere in the dock ward. It tells you, however, to follow a path under the dock. And once you're there at the dead end, to throw a copper piece into the water and to wait. This little shed that you found seems to be abandoned. You don't even know how far you made it down the street from the tavern you were at.
He looks around and goes, yeah, that seems about right. And he takes 1 copper out of his boot, 1/3 of his net worth, and follows the instructions.
Waterdeep is an enormous bay. There are magnificent ships that are lined across docks as far as the eye could see, bustling sailors and merchants of every type. No one seems to take much notice of you as you walk through the wet streets. You walk your way down the dock and you see a set of stairs leading down. What do you do?
Go down the stairs.
And you make your way down and you see campfires strung out in front of you. There are fish that are hanging out on old lines, drying out in the salty air. And there are buckets of water that are being boiled and distilled to make it drinkable. There is a series of small shacks that have been built off to one side, and people do glance at you, but they don't spend a lot of time staring. You think that given another year or two on the skids, you might fit in here really nicely. And you keep moving until eventually you hit a stone wall, and there is a small outcropping that leads out into the water. You walk out, and in the water beneath you, you see a faint shimmer, and you see little sparks of metal in the water beneath. It looks like a wishing well.
Tempting.
Certainly enough coppers for a warm meal and maybe a bottle.
He looks at them for a second, looks at his own, thinks about the other 2 in his boot, but he's a sailor. He's suspicious enough to know to at least be spooked by the prospect of taking other people's wishes. That's got to be bad luck somewhere.
Probably true.
Yeah, so he's gonna toss his own copper in after a moment.
And to your great disappointment, nothing very magical happens.
Hello?
You begin to wonder if that sailor wasn't taking the wind out of your sails. This could have been a ruse to get you to look like a fool. You've just thrown one of your last coppers into the water. There's a splash.
Like rolling up his sleeves a little bit to like reach in.
Yeah, you actually are about to stick your hand back in, whether to grab your own copper or maybe a few others. And as your hand reaches out, it's grabbed. You see this beautiful dark skin and these pearlescent fingertips, and a figure emerges from the water. You see a female form that is dressed in strange armor. Her hair is braided together in this wild mane that pulls out of the water almost like seaweed. And you are taken aback by the tattooed and pierced figure of a mermaid that has emerged in front of you.
I'm in trouble. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that anything was going to happen. I was just going to take my own coin back and be on my way.
Now, see, this is interesting here. This line tells me quite a bit. You should be concerned.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I think.
My friends call me Filthy Meg, and she plops out of the water, and she has this beautiful green and blue iridescent tail, and she lounges there in front of you, looking at you curiously.
Hello, I'm Calder, Grail. Why did they call you Filthy Meg? You live in the water, you don't look filthy.
I know everything that happens here. And I mean everything. So if there's dirt, I find it. A few people, she's drawn a dagger and you didn't realize it. She's like using it to kind of like gesture, and she points at you.
Oh.
Now, a few people have made the mistake of assuming that they can call me Fishy Meg. They now live with me underwater. You can call me Meg.
Yes, ma'am.
Young man, why are you here?
I was looking for a little information about a ship called the Siren's Call.
She cocks an eyebrow at that. It's pierced like 3 times with little gold rings.
Does it make noise? Does it jingle?
Yeah, it does have a little jingle occurs when she does that.
Excellent.
This Siren's Call.
Yes.
I see.
You know it.
I've heard the name.
I haven't been able to find it.
Look, love, all I need from you is payment.
Oh. Well, you already have any gestures to the wealth. Like you already have about 1/3 of my net wealth. So I don't know. I can work, but I don't have money.
Are you wasting my time?
That seems like it might be up to you.
I'll give you the information that you want, but I need something from you. I need you to liberate something and bring it back to me.
Oh. He looks a little more comfortable, instantly like, all right, okay.
There is a group here, Calder Grail, known as the Watchful Order. It's a group of mages. They have a series of arcane eyes that float about and are quite invisible. The only way you can see them is if you had a command ring.
Calder's like looking around suddenly, like, oh.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you understand. No self-respecting information broker is going to want to have an invisible eye looking over them the entire time that they're maybe not working in the best interests of Waterdeep. I need you to find and take one of the control rings off the hand of a member of the Watchful Order.
Well, I like a challenge.
It should be a blue gem set in silver. And I don't care how you get it. You can get as creative as you want. I just don't want it to fall back on me. Seriously, if the guard shows up here, Calder, you're going to have 2 scars on that pretty face of yours. There is one of this Watchful Order that spends a lot of time in a tavern not far from Coin Alley. It's called the Mangy Dog.
Taverns are my turf.
Do we have an accord, Calder Grail?
Yeah, yes. What happens if I just fail?
Well, if you fail, you don't get the information.
That's it?
You don't know a sailor by the name of Squig, do you?
I know of him. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Some people were asking about a sailor named Squig. Funny. Those descriptions seem not too far off.
How many sailors with a mutilated face are there? Probably a lot. It was sort of rough out there on the
lot.
water.
But the coat, mighty fine.
Yeah, it's like a security blanket, really. So,
you should
without
find a
the
security
one-
blanket that doesn't put you in harm's way.
He's just sweating, like, a little bit. Like this.
She leaps back into the water, and she's swimming now, and her tail kind of flops out into the bay. And she turns and look. She doesn't hit you with it, but she does swim underwater, and then she pops back up, and she looks at you. Hope to see you soon, Squig, and dives off and swims away.
As soon as she's gone, he goes, oh. And then he calms down and starts like slowly walking back.
You start making your way through this crowded streets of the dock ward, past the ringing of a bell that is in an old temple. It is dedicated to Timora. Coppers for luck. Our Lady blesses those who bless. Coppers for luck.
I was gonna take another copper out of his boot and give it to them.
It clinks in the cup, and the young acolyte looks at you and winks. Timora's blessing upon you.
Oh, thanks.
Meanwhile, the whole world lays before you. You stand on the edge of the last trees before the glade opens up. The open field stretches 2, maybe 3 miles until it strikes the city of Waterdeep and that wall. The endless, towering city. The visions were clear. This is where it will happen. And you know there's no turning back. The holy artifacts have been stolen. You know they lie within the city. What do you do?
I look around me and take in the last bit of untampered earth that I can. And I hold my head high and I make my way towards the city.
Every step, you feel it slipping away. The warm embrace of your world is letting go. You spend hours on this dry patch of road, and eventually, before you know it, the enormous gates of the southern ward of Waterdeep are all that you can see. They eclipse the sky. There are a number of guards on a small walkway as carts and carriages move their way by. And as you stand there, you lose sight of yourself.
Hey! Hey! Get out of the road! I don't want to run you over!
June just hops immediately to the side.
You step to the side as an ox-drawn cart pushes past you, and an old toothless farmer waves his fist at you, and the cart pulls forward through the gates and begins its inspection as it rolls forward, waved on by a number of armored guards holding spears and shields. What do you do, June?
June's gonna look around and see if there's any back ways that she can get through.
So you walk away from the main road. How far down the wall do you walk?
20 feet down the wall.
You see figures walking along the parapets, spears and arrows knocked, guards everywhere along that wall. Above, flying in circles, you see griffins with riders atop them, and you hear the screech of the bird-like call of those creatures as they echo out into the sky. You don't know if anyone can see you from above. It's hard to tell. It's so far away. You think you might be alone.
She's gonna see if there's anything she can grab onto on this wall, maybe to try to make her way up.
You start searching along the wall, and it is very finely crafted, but there are small grips of jagged stone that you could potentially use to climb. Looking up, you realize it stretches so far, hundreds of feet. If you were to fall off this wall, it wouldn't be good. But you think that you might be able to climb it, if that's what you choose.
Well, I'd rather not take that risk since I just got here, so I'm gonna keep walking.
And in the distance, you hear the clang of armor and the marching of bootsteps. What would you like to do?
And she's gonna try to climb up the wall.
Okay, go ahead and make a roll for me. We will call this either acrobatics or athletics. I'm going to give you the choice. So you can choose the skill that seems most appropriate for Juniper.
13.
Okay. 13 is fairly mediocre. You do make it a few feet up the wall, and you are hanging there, but it is slow going, and it is awkward. And once you get about 15 feet up, you realize that anyone's going to be able to see you from a mile away if you go much further. Make a stealth roll to see how well you can remain concealed hanging on a wall in the morning light.
A 13.
Yeah, so that's not going to make it.
Halt! You! On the wall!
And you see 10 armored watch for the city of Waterdeep.
Descend now!
June is going to slowly climb down the wall. But when she gets about 5 feet, she stops and she casts Wind Wall.
Are you casting Wind Wall on the guard?
Yeah, she's gonna cast Wind Wall in between the separation of her and the dudes.
Outstanding. So that is a dexterity saving throw for all of them.
May I say what I picture, Piper?
Yeah.
Like, I picture she just like raises her hands, turns around, and then just goes whoosh.
Basically.
4 of them succeed, 6 of them fail.
She's gonna take off running the opposite way.
You don't know, with all of the dirt and debris that's being blown up by your wind wall, if they see you. So you're running back to the road? Okay,
Unfortunately, yes.
You run back to the road. And you hear shouts and commotion behind you. You do manage to make it back to the road before any of the pursuers catch you, but now you hear a bell being rung from someone that was hit with your wind wall. And then those bells start to clamor throughout the wall. It's as if other individuals with bells begin ringing bells. And then those bells are being multiplied by others who hear it. And the southern gate is closed as carts and horseback riders are all being lined up and systematically searched by the guards.
Halt! Oh, everyone hold!
Well, your business will be handled. The people are like making a commotion up at the front because they were trying to get through the city gates and now they can't. You are now in kind of a throng of people.
June looks around for the sweetest person she can find, the sweetest face.
You find a innocent-looking young woman who is walking a kind of an older-looking plow horse that has baskets with a strange purple fruit, and it looks like she has boots on that are well worn.
I'm gonna run up to her and gently take her hand, and I'm gonna mouth, "Help me."
Make a persuasion check.
Oh no!
And
Not persuasion. Oh.
That's a 9. The young farmer, she looks at you and looks to the guards for a moment.
She's gonna cast Fast Friends on her.
You succeed. I'm sorry, I didn't know what was happening.
That's okay. I really need to get into the city, and I was wondering if you would please say that I am with you.
Yes, of course. We're dear friends. Why would I not?
Just in case. I just thank you.
Forgotten your name. It's the strangest thing. I feel like I've known you my whole life.
That we have Juniper, remember?
Oh, yes, Juniper. Ah, yes. The guards kind of work their way around. Other guards appear and start talking with the others. They're pointing dramatically.
Is there another way that we've entered the city before?
Well, we've usually come by the high road, but there are many gates to Waterdeep. It's a very large city.
Why don't we do that?
Okay. And she turns her draft horse, and the 3 of you move back down the road.
Okay.
We'll come back to you, June. of your window, you see that the sky is bright, but there are clouds on the horizon, and the city of Waterdeep sprawls out before you. You are currently in the dock ward. From your window, you hear the shouts of those insipid acolytes.
Coppers, coppers for luck. Our Lady blesses those who bless. Coppers for luck.
It's the morning, and you've pulled your boots on. You're looking at yourself in the mirror, pleased with what you see. Describe yourself, please, Illyri.
So I look into the mirror. I rustle my hand through my pink hair, which is shiny, and I have a little bit of a sweat on me. It's a little humid by the sea. A loose shirt on because it's the morning. Tan skin, athletic build, but a little short. Elven ears. Give my eyes a good look, just making sure that I don't have any smudges or anything from whatever happened last night. And I see these hazel eyes, which often, when they're excited, they gleam gold. You know, maybe I check out my teeth a little bit to make sure there's nothing in there and get out.
You've lost track of how long you've been docked here. The work that you've had to find is less than optimal. Nightly, you sit in your small, shabby room, counting the coins that are quickly disappearing. And as you regard yourself in the mirror, you gather your things and open your door to find in the inn that you've been staying at, apparently, discretion hasn't been paid for. There is a scroll. It's sitting at your doorstep.
What is this now? Sprawls it out to give it a good look.
Illyri opens up the scroll and you break a little wax seal. And as you do, you unfurl a very finely written note. It is simple, only a few sentences, but this is what it says. Sailor, you have been identified as one of the individuals that traveled upon the vessel known as the Siren's Call. I am personally investigating this matter and request your appearance so that I may ask you a few questions. There is an address that is marked upon the bottom, and it is signed Inquisitor Sternward.
This isn't going to be good.
There is the smell of cooked meat and boiled cabbage down below at the inn, and you make your way down as you kind of pass through the doorway out into the street, and the noise and the bustle of the dock ward surrounds you. Blessings of Timor to you.
Points at the guy, gives him a little wink, and blows him a kiss with 2 fingers and continues on her way.
Be still my heart.
So I have to ask you, Illyri, do you go to the job that you have currently slated, or do you follow the instructions on the scroll?
All of the calculations just start like going through her head of which one's gonna get me, the better deal in the end. She heads off to her job.
So you turn down the street, shoving the piece of parchment into a pouch as you walk down into the dock ward. And there are a number of large warehouses that sprawl out before you. You very quickly, at a brisk pace, make your way through the morning light as fishmongers and merchants shout out back and forth as large crates are being hauled up and animals led onto ships. You clamber your way through these streets and quickly make your way to the warehouse where you have been hired to load a few wagons. Your contact is a sailor that had been on the Siren's Call named Teetelbaum Moosenik. Teetelbaum is a gnome. Has one glass eye that is horribly painted. It is white with a dot on it, and it kind of slides around in his in the socket of his eye. His bright green hair is turned mostly gray. He has a beard that has been braided multiple times over. And you walk into the warehouse, and he looks you up and down.
I absolutely hate how chipper you always are.
And it'd be a good look on you, though.
Larry, I just when this job is over, I want you to know that whatever happens, I hope to never see you again.
And Teetelbaum turns and goes and starts throwing boxes onto the back of this cart.
Tittlebaum.
It's Teetelbaum.
Teetelbaum, that's right. Sorry. By chance, like, no one's come around looking for me like an inquisitor or anything.
No one gives a frack about you. No one cares. I'm sure that if they did know about you the way that I know about you, that they would wish that you were dead.
That's what I like to hear. Larry just like gets back to work, just obviously now singing a new little song in her head.
You continue to move crates onto the back of this cart. And there are some individuals you don't recognize. They're kind of milling about in the shadows of the warehouse. One of them is very large.
Ahoy there, you gonna give us a hand? Could really use some hands with these boxes.
Everyone in the warehouse stops and looks at you. And there's a moment of this pregnant silence, and the very large man with a shaved head, he's human, but he is a mountain. You thought what might be fat, it looks like pure muscle. Andre the Giant proportions of person, you know? And so he walks and lumbers over, and he stares at you with this glower and looks down at you.
Do it yourself. That's what we paid for.
That's right, and I'm gonna get right to it.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, sir. You trusted us. You've done the right thing here. My companion, elbow to your knee, their tongue is far too loose. We can fix that. No additional charge, sir.
I'm just saying, if someone's gonna stand around, we might as well lift a few boxes.
What was that?
Just saying, if you want it to be done right, I'm sure you have a few instructions you could give me.
Oh, I've got instruction for you.
Sir, I promise you we need no instructions here. Everything is just... And Teetelbaum is lifted up off the ground as this large, hulking mass of a man picks Teetelbaum up by the shirt.
I don't have to tell you. This is important, right?
Yeah, of course.
And your loudmouths aren't going to get in the way of that, are they?
No. Isn't that right, Larry?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Good.
And he drops the gnome onto the ground, and Teetelbaum kind of clatters with a clump, and you can't help but take a little joy from that. As the large man turns... What the living gods is that about? Are you trying to put us on the wrong side of the grasping eye? Get the cockatrices and load them on the cart.
Okay, I will load them on the cart, Tittle.
It's
Teetelbaum! So you start loading these wooden cages onto the back of this cart, and there are a number of these wagons here, and there's a large number of strange, caged, magical creatures of varied rarity. Spread out before you in these wooden crates are what seem to be 30 to 40 cockatrices, and they cluck, these horrible reptilian chicken-like creatures that peck at the cages and squawk.
Really regretting coming into work today.
But work you do, and the day moves along. And at the end of it, you gather the handful of coins that Teetlebomb pushes into your open palm, grabbing you. Any of that nonsense tomorrow, and you'll be finding another job. Do you understand?
Yeah, I got it.
You pull out back into the streets and make your way back to the inn. Standing outside is a figure in a red coat with a long red brimmed hat with a feather. A finely manicured mustache and beard drawn into a point, and dark eyes, thin, frail form. Make a insight check, please, Illyri.
I got a 9.
You're not sure what this individual is thinking, but they have not stopped looking at you. Do you continue to walk forward?
This person is looking at me, possibly checking me out. It's the end of my work shift, you know, clearly has a good looking outfit on, cares about their appearance. Walk my way over there and be like, hello? See something you like?
Sorry, hold on a minute.
Always the goal to get the DM flustered as a bard, and it went down very well.
Perfectly planned. Go ahead. Let's have you make a persuasion check. Roll a persuasion. 13. Yeah, your delivery's dead on. As a bard, you know you're on your game here. I do indeed see something that I like. I believe your name is Illyri Seaborn. While your hair is quite gorgeous and your eyes are bright, I hate to inform you that you, my dear, are not my type. The former crew of the Siren's Call has been quite elusive. I don't give up. And you, I believe, are the key to the secret of the Siren's Call.
Luckily, you said you just needed to see me, which you have. So our business is concluded.
Perhaps you do not understand the severity of the situation before you. I control this ward. So we can be civil, or I can come back tomorrow with an arrest warrant.
Listen, Inquisitor, you know my price. If you want answers, give me some money. Make it worth my while.
You lowlife are all the same. I will pay you what the information is worth, and not a single copper more. Would you like to do this in my office or here?
You know what? I can meet you there in the morning.
So be it. My lady. And he takes his hat off and he bows before you.
I give him a little tip of the hat.
And he turns and walks down the street. Doddle. The wagon jolts to a stop, and you've heard bells ringing in the background, and the dog is licking your fingers. You are still holding on to Harold, who's now awake.
Good morning, Harold. Welcome to a beautiful new day. Look at this city, and I'm gonna take a peek.
You peek out underneath the bed of burlap, and you see more people than you could possibly ever imagine.
You see dwarves and humans and strange draconic creatures that you know are known as the Dragonborn, and all of them are milling about together.
Harold, have you ever seen so many different kinds of people in such a big yet compact place? There's so many people. How hard could it be to find somebody that knows where Tailwind is? I agree. I don't know what you said, but I agree.
You hear creaking as the old man, the farmer, gets off his wagon, and you hear footsteps. What would you like to do?
Well, I mean, we're in the city. Okay, I'm gonna grab Harold and roll out the cart.
Okay, so you roll out, and you see before you the old farmer as he turns around the wagon and sees you. Goblin!
Thank you very much for the ride. I'm gonna run.
You're running through the streets, and you've got this chicken in your hands. Thief! Chicken thief! And you hear shouts of goblin as they ring out through the city.
Oh.
Maglow, you have just taken a punch to the jaw.
Oh, fuck. Give me back my fucking book! And then he's gonna fire at him.
You fire, and I would like for you to make a roll to strike, please.
With the vial that he's loaded into his weapon, this is a ray of sickness. That's a 14.
14 is good, but it's not good enough. Your shot runs just a little bit high, and it passes over your opponent's shoulder as they turn and roll into an alley out of the way. And you see them running back towards the main street.
Fuck. Buzz, can I have a hand next time?
Other individuals in the alley start opening windows and looking out into the back, and you see people kind of sticking their heads out at the sound of what seems to be a musket shot, which is fairly rare. I mean, these type of weapons do exist, but they're not commonly used. And magic is more often used, and when that starts happening in the city, people become very nervous. You see the figure run, and they jolt down the alleyway. These alleys that are overhung with large decorative shades, some garbage in the way, but there's also some old fabrics that have been laid out to dry. Perhaps there is some mending and some dyeing that's happening. Figure kind of ducks through this to try to like ruin your line of sight as these whipping fabrics are kind of batting back and forth in the wind of the alley. Do you pursue?
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, you got my book.
So as you're running through the street and following through, these alleys open up into one of the main thoroughfares. Hawk, you are standing. Your eyes are still adjusting to everything around you. You've been walking through the street in a daze, and I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh no. Good thing I'm
You have a disadvantage, and you have a disadvantage.
Because I have that was a natural 20 on the first one.
I'm sorry to have taken that away from you.
Yeah, it's a 16 overall.
Someone bumps into you forcibly, and you didn't see them coming, but it doesn't knock you back. Somebody barrels into you from out of an alley and then runs past you.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Get out of my way.
Oh. Are you okay, sir? Do you need help or assistance?
Yeah. Hawk screams, do you need help? And then Maglow barrels down the alleyway and fires a fucking gun at the dude.
I'll make a perception check. Okay, now make an insight check, please.
Insight. That's a 9.
Yeah, everything seems on the level. And you stand there, and then a moment later, from the other side of the street, you hear someone yelling, "Chicken thief! Chicken thief!" And there's a small figure that's running through the crowded street. And you see a little figure. Do you have your head covered, Doddle?
As I'm running, I'm gonna realize this may be harder than I first anticipated, and I'm gonna be putting out my blue scarf around my face.
Okay, so there's a masked little figure holding a chicken running through the street.
I'm gonna head after the chicken thief then. Excuse me, I believe that's someone else's chicken.
Oh, no, it's all just a big misunderstanding. This is, in fact, my chicken bought and paid for.
Oh, do I see that she's a goblin?
No. Well, there's something weird that you haven't... make an insight check.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's have you make an insight check.
Otherwise, I assume this is a small child that needs assistance. That's a 5 because...
It's a small human child who needs your help.
Here, kiddo, I'll get you somewhere safe, all right?
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Oh my gosh, the chicken thief went that way, down that alley.
And they run past you. They're holding clubs and they're shouting, "Stop the chicken thief!" as they run away from you. And they disappear off into the distance. And you seem to have evaded your pursuers, Doddle.
Thank you very much for your assistance.
Hey, don't worry about it. Do you need food or something? Or like somewhere to go? Are your parents
Maglow,
nearby?
Maglow, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
I'm bad at those. Why would you do that to me? That's so rude. 11.
Yeah, you run full on. You don't fall, but you do ram into an armored man who is kneeled down before a small child right in front of this alley.
Oh my god.
Fucking get out the way, and then...
Hey, you almost
gonna-
hurt this kid, buddy.
Mag's just going to keep running.
Okay, so you run past. I need both Doddle and Hawk to make insight checks.
Wabam.
Oh, that's it.
Finally.
That's the one your boy needs.
Doddle, this man who's just rammed into you had a brass glowing instrument on him that had a weird light on it. That's all that you really notice.
I'm very overwhelmed by seeing humans for the first time. This is crazy.
Hawk, this man is carrying a satchel of papers and a bundle of books, and as he runs past you, a large piece of parchment falls out at your feet, and it seems to be a map.
Oh my goodness, that gentleman just dropped his map.
Oh.
As this armored man picks up this map and holds it up, Doddle, you do speak Common, so you read Common as well.
Mm-hmm.
Scratched in frantic writing are a couple of words that you see momentarily on this map. Among them, Teowin and Evermeet.
Can I try and grab it from Hawk?
You reach up. You can. I don't. Hawk, do you stop them?
Oh, hey kiddo, do you want to see it then?
I'm gonna stare at the map for a few seconds before looking at Harold and saying, "Harold, this just got easy again," and I'm gonna run after Maglow.
Listen, I'm pretty sure it isn't a treasure map, kiddo, but we should get back to its owner.
You realize that this child has yellow eyes and green skin.
And as I'm running away, can I yell back at him? That's another miscommunication. I'm not actually a child, but thank you. I do appreciate affection, and I'm gonna keep running.
I think that child might have leprosy. She'll infect the entire town. I chase after her.
Soray, roll the strike.
We're gonna whip my spear around over my head. Oh shit. Okay, so my spear hits on 19, and it's 8 damage.
It passes through their leather armor, and you see a gash, and some blue blood kind of leaks out of the side of their armor, and they look at you. All right, fine. He's gonna try to kick you.
I'm gonna try and stop him. I can dodge, right?
If you want to use a key point, right? And you leap out of the way. Make an acrobatics check, please. It's good enough. You don't have a great footing right now, and you are standing on the edge of the roof as they throw a dagger as a bonus action. You take a dagger to the shoulder.
Ow. That's me saying that, not Soray. She doesn't emote.
You take 4 points of damage.
I'm going to look down at the wound. And I'm going to look up. I'm going to grapple and grab the tiefling by like the armor front like collar.
Okay, so you grab the tiefling. Go ahead and make an athletics check as the tiefling's going to do the same.
I got 8.
8 is not good enough.
Yeah.
So you grab on to Billix, and Billix smiles and looks at you and just puts a finger out and pokes you in the chest. I need you to make an acrobatics check to land in the street without hurting yourself too badly.
I'm gonna fucking kill him.
You still have their coin, by the way. That's a natural 1.
Oh, fuck me.
Go ahead and roll that again to see if you get 2 natural 1s there, Soray. You don't want to do that. It's a 15. So you didn't get 2 natural 1s, but you did get 1 natural 1. You land in a garbage cart that shatters underneath your weight. The wheels break off of it, and you and a lot of rotten fruit burst out of the back and roll out onto the street of Waterdeep.
I feel like Biff from Back to the Future when he keeps falling in the shit cart. I'm really mad at that tiefling, and he's gonna die.
Yeah, you see the tiefling, they're up there, and they're smiling, and they wink, and then they start leaping across buildings, running further into the city. You can see them kind of on the top of the roofs.
I'm gonna get up, and I'm gonna try and catch up to them.
Okay, so you're running through the streets. It just...
Booking it, and I'm like running through the streets and like doing like the Assassin's Creed, like pushing people like aggressively but gently enough that it's not going to cause a commotion because Assassin's Creed, and I'm gonna try and climb up one of the sides of the buildings.
That's going to require an acrobatics check, and
okay.
you're in the middle of the street, so you have to go across the street to the other buildings. Billix has already worked their way around, and they're jumping from rooftop to rooftop. They're off in the distance. You've lost a little bit of time.
It was a 15 on acrobatics.
Okay, that's good. So, Hawk, you see this strange elf leaps in front of you and starts jumping across carts using their spear and like doing these crazy running up wall parkour type moves. Up in front of you, Soray, you see this small child who's running with this big piece of paper, and you see that they're running down an alley. In front of them is a flustered looking young man, as all of you seem to be converging into this alley.
Yeah, but where's the tiefling? I don't care about them.
No, I know you don't.
Okay.
What I'm saying is Billix the tiefling seems to be headed the same direction down this alley.
All right, I'm gonna follow the tiefling.
And we will come back to you. Calder, you make your way to the Mangy Dog. This tavern has a number of people who are already passed out in front of it, and one of the doors is broken on the hinge.
Well, I guess he's gonna walk inside then.
Okay, you step inside the tavern, and as you are assailed by the smells of like boiled fish and what can only be very old cheap rum, there's a waft of pipe smoke that kind of fills the air. There's a central hearth that is burning brightly with a couple of bubbling stews on it, and the bar is built around it. And while this place is really falling apart, there is a fairly well-to-do looking corner that has been passingly cleaned. All you're seeing are backs right now, but there seems to be a little bit of a commotion.
Oh, what kind of commotion?
I'll have you roll a perception check here. You do see there's a man lying on the floor, and there's a number of other individuals who are standing over him. Some of them are laughing. Or one of them seems to be a bartender, and the bartender turns. Is there something I can do for you?
I'm sure there is. What's going on here, though? You seem to be a bit preoccupied.
Don't worry about. Yeah, no, nothing. There's nothing. And the bartender just kind of like stands in front of you so that you can't see, wiping his hands on his apron, and you see there's blood on it.
Oh. Cal just squints like, yeah. I spill wine all the time. Like looking at the blood.
It's a safe place.
Understood.
It's a safe place. Yeah.
I'm actually looking for possibly a little bit of work just for a day or two while I'm passing through. I'm a sailor, you see.
I heard dishwasher.
Yeah. You speak the language.
All right, yeah, you would get a rag, and a silver a day would be what we.
So more than I started with.
Rush is gonna happen in about an hour. We got a few fancy folk that come in. Tip okay.
Thanks for the tip. Well, let me know if you need anything. Soap, bleach.
What? You walk in there. There is no soap. There is lukewarm dirt, water that's kind of brown, and there are dirty dishes piled almost to the ceiling.
It's just. All right, I guess we're soaking these. And Cal just starts doing the dishes. He's planning to wait for the rush with like the fancy people, I suppose, and see if he can hear anything about what has just gone down.
Amazing. So Cal, yeah, you hang up your coat, you roll up your sleeves, and you start washing dishes. And you work diligently for a few hours. Yeah,
rinsing.
Whatever. You know what it is. All right. June. The road has been stretching on for over an hour. Apparently, these gates are not as close as they would seem, and you are traveling all the way around this long, ponderous wall. How long does your spell last?
1 hour.
Her smile drops and she looks at you. I don't want any trouble. And she like backs off the road and leaves the horse. Let's go to the horse's reins, and the horse, and you can see by her face that she's trying to escape you.
Wait. I'm not gonna do anything. June backs away herself. I would never hurt you. And she takes a couple copper and she places it on the ground and backs away some more. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to take anything from you.
You made me think that we were friends. My mind.
I'm very sorry. I'm a holy woman, and I'm looking for things that were taken from me and my people. I was trying to get in, but then these people following me and...
Well, she got a natural 20 on her insight, and she realizes that what you're saying is true. And there is a crack in her fear, but she does not, clearly trust you still.
Right.
Leave me out of it. I have to sell this crop. And you've just cost me half a day. I have to go back. Don't follow me.
Oh, okay.
She just kind of shakes her head and takes her horse and then starts walking back, and you're alone again.
Damn it. Okay. And she starts to continue her walk alone.
You're walking past one of these groups of trees. Something moves.
June thorn whips. Instincts.
It's a 5. Okay. A figure immediately leaps from that broken group of trees, and a dark, shadowy blur lands over your head and behind you. I wouldn't move. You're looking for a friend. Tell me, do you follow Sylvanas?
I do.
Are you seeking to enter the city?
I am.
Those who serve the Oaken Lord are friend. I will help you if you do not try to whip me again. And a black furred tabaxi with yellow eyes and old ratted fur, dressed in a hood with worn leather armor, circles around and looks at you, crouched low. What is your name?
What is yours?
Those who speak the common tongue call me Old Scratch.
June. I need to get in. How can I do that?
Follow me.
Do you trust this figure as it steps into what's clearly a dead patch of trees?
Can I do a perception check?
You can do insight or perception, whichever you like. I can do a perception for you. As far as perception goes, you don't notice anything out of the ordinary.
She readies her thorn whip and follows in.
The tabaxi is in the trees now and kind of looks down.
We have to wait until nightfall. Rest.
You say we're friends, but what else do you want from me?
You serve Sylvanas. What would I want from you? Get some rest.
She nods at him. But she goes to meditate instead.
Okay, so you meditate. Illyri, your day passes, and in the morning, you wake up, much as you always do. Where do you go?
She splashes a little bit of water on her face, just to kind of wake up, and realizes that she's really going to have this conversation. So she kind of like gives herself a little pep talk in the mirror, looks herself in the eyes, and says to herself out loud, "You got this. You got this."
Make a persuasion check against yourself.
Yes!
No.
Oh no.
Nope. All right, and then so she's faced with that, not looking very convincing, clearly.
As you stare into the mirror, your memories begin flowing past you, and you are haunted once again by the Moonshay Isle. Those dark lands, and the haunted look that the captain had. Locking himself into his cabin, you only saw him twice. He hadn't eaten in days. The food was rotting, piled up by the door. You'd forced your way in. Rotten food, flies, the stench of his sweat and feces. As the captain of the Siren Call is wrapped in fascination over a book. Black-bound book that is open, the pages old and withered before him. As you enter, he doesn't seem to notice, even with the breaking of the door, but as you step closer, you hear him. That which was will be again. Torn asunder the sisters dance, and in our minds the truth will be shown. I see everything, all of it. The
breaking of the world is open to us now. All that stands in the way is to turn the key.
And that's where we're going to end it for today.
Woo!
Oh,
Yes.
Holy crap.
I need a breather.
Big
Yes.
fan of the apocalypse boy at the end.
Yeah.
that was like that. I could feel it. That was like the scenes from the darker animated movies that scared me when I was a child. Like that's what that felt. I'm like, oh.
Can we like give like Knox like round of applause?
That was brilliant,
Yeah,
Knox.
actually very.
That was
very
incredible.
Thank you so
very
much.
good.
Good thing.
Mhm. Well done.
Oh.
Tying all things together. Love that for me.
We had a lot of setup in this one, but I the next session is going to go a little faster because we do have actionable items to move on now. If there's something that you feel like is really important that we might be missing, we can always find a way to insert that. I'm going to kill this recording here.
We did
I just- oh
it.
my
We
goodness.
did
Oh,
it. That was gorgeous.
Holy
My
crap.
heart was beating like the whole time because I have this thing that I do where I'm like, oh, I'm whatever decision I wouldn't make in that moment, like that's what Illyri is gonna make because I try to keep her a little reckless, you know.
Mhm.
And every decision
Love
she
it.
makes tonight or that she made tonight made me like want to like vomit because I was so nervous. I was like, I am going to
Me too.
die. I can
I
feel
would-
it.
Hello, stranger. Lifts leg. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I would like to say, although Knox did do a really good job, he criminally added in my favorite character ever, which is the little gnome that Illyri was speaking to.
Yeah.
That I can't believe you've waited so long.
I love that gnome.
For that
That's my
absolute-
best
Swear to
friend.
God. Knox and his like gnomes and like the like little troll people.
Little shit is the word that you're looking for. Anyone with an attitude that's
Good.
small.
Love it.
Also, for both the newer players and the audience, since I'm still recording, this was not a recreation. Maglow didn't get punched in the face before,
Nope.
so new things are happening, and I'm on edge.
It's nice little
Weird.
details.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
has. It
Before
has the
it was like an
spirit and-
overview. Now it's
Mhm.
like we're gonna add some little details in because we
Getting
know
into
the
it.
overview.
Yeah, it has. It
Second
has
pass
the like.
is neat.
It has. It has.
Details.
Yeah, it has the like spirit and content of the original sessions, but it's a Final Fantasy VII remake.
Remake. Yeah,
situation.
literally the Final Fantasy VII remake of the.
Yeah.
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 Well, Hawk's intro is completely different than his original, and I love it. Like
Mhm.
the stuff with the Dwergar and the
Oh, it
broken
was so good.
That was very good.
symbol.
I like that a
Oh
lot.
my god.
I wanted you
I was
all
psyched.
entering at the same time from different places. So
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
my like Easter egg at this point now is that you all kind of got in this orbit unbeknownst to each other, even before the newer players were able to join.
I like this because originally I was wondering how I got into the city because we started with June just like I have these people working for me and I'm gonna get my stuff and go.
I'm not gonna lie, I intended you to walk through the gate, and you didn't, which is okay. I love it.
Amazing.
I love your choices because
June's
it
a YOLO.
definitely shows that June does not trust anything about the city. The children that were scattered about the floor of the common room looked at the old man, waiting for a tale of faraway lands and heroic exploits. I suppose we were at the beginning then. The underdark, the grove, the sea, the palace, they all converged right there.
Harold, have you ever seen so many different kinds of people in such a big place? How hard could it be to find somebody that knows where Tailwind is?
You're a miracle boy.
I shake my head and quietly to myself say, "There's no such thing as miracles."
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a running start. I'll count to 30. 1, 2.
30, and then I'm gonna run at him and attack him.
You told me your history. I was born on that boat. Huh? That ship that your friend is dissecting.
I absolutely hate how chipper you always are.
And it'd be a good look on you, though.
If it's a riddle, I want to solve it. If it's a lock, I want to open it.
I'm a holy woman, and I'm looking for things that were taken from me and my people.
They could not begin to fathom the situation that they found themselves in.